Afternoon, everybody. Evening, morning, whatever. Good night. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I'd put a little vlog up for no reason whatsoever other than to just talk crap. So, first things first, if you fancy donating to the channel, give me some incentive to keep sharing my vinyl rips. And, the mixtapes I do. I'll put a PayPal me link below. I don't expect anybody to do it, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I'll do that. Also, recommend me some good channels where people post old house tunes. I mean, you'll know from the rips I do. I've always been into all sorts, whether it be old hardcore from like 91, 92 to 93, even a happy hardcore from the mid 90s. Never been into jungle much, but I like the odd bit. House, deep house, trance, prog house, cheesy UK house, low budget stuff from the Netherlands, deep US garage, like New York tribal stuff, blah blah blah, runway tunes. I like loads of stuff. I don't even know what like a lot of you guys are into. Like, obviously, I get comments on some videos. This is the odd person who only ever comments negative stuff, and I'm like, why are you even here? Why are you a subscriber? I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, I go through phases, don't I, of like ripping vinyl and then just not doing any for months. I write a log of all the ones I've done. Like, the last ones I did were like November last year, and then when I started to do a few this year, last month, it's like, bloody hell, I haven't done any since November last year. I just, you know what I mean? It's just one of them like hobbies that I get into, and then I'll stop doing it for ages. The reason I post like all the tracks off a 12-inch most of the time, not all the time, is because like people like me and a lot of you, they're still looking for tunes from the 90s, or like you love that sound, and there are so many YouTube channels, like if you go on Spotify or whatever, and it's just the big hits, the A sides, the ones that crossed over into the charts. And like it's happened a few times where I've bought a record, then on the B side, on B2 or something, there's a tune that I've wanted for like 20 years or whatever, and I've just never known what it was. And because all these other uploaders, they only upload like the heavy hitters, you just never get to hear it because there's nowhere to listen to them online. So that's why I do it. I don't think every single upload of mine is a good tune. It's more like, I mean, obviously it's not the same, but when you go record shopping back in the day, and if you listen to a record, which you do, you wouldn't just put A1 on, would you? You'd check all the tracks on the 12-inch. So that's why I upload like all the mixes and all the tunes off each record, because it's a service I'd like. I wish more YouTubers would do it. Please start doing it. I know it's like late in the day for YouTube, but whatever. So, like, with regards to how often I'm doing it, like I say, it's like one of them hobbies I'll get into, and then I'll stop doing it, and then I'll start doing it. I've always got like loads of ideas about music stuff, and most of them never come to anything. Like, I have ideas about tunes I want to make, and I just can't be bothered. I'm crap at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And all these other projects, then I just never get around to it. Also, I just want to also say about the history of house music. These days, the history, oh, it's so narrowed down to this one line apparently, and that is not the history of house music. It all gets taken back to this one point, this certain group of people, just because a bunch of people have watched like 3 documentaries, like all including the same people, all spinning the same yarn. Oh, Paradise Garage, this and that, Oaken Fold, and I went to Ibiza. It's absolute bollocks. I'm sick of it. There's so much more to it. Everybody knows The Loft, David Mancuso. It was for everybody. Even the Detroit guys, the Chicago guys, like they made tunes to sound like European dance music. They weren't just like complete innovators. Like, you think back to the roots, you've got Yellow Magic Orchestra, you've got The Art of Noise, shout out JJ, met him the other week. You've got all these people, even like Heaven 17 were using a 303. on Let Me Go in like 1982. Check it out. What a tune. Straight out of Sheffield, no less. Um, you know, so the history is just, it's bullshit. I'm bored of it. I'm not like trying to like say that the people that did stuff weren't important. Obviously they were important. Marshall Jefferson, you know, Larry Levan, who else? The list goes on. You know what I mean? I could just talk for hours about it, like DJ Pierre, etc. But I wish there was like a comprehensive like history. And I tried to like do some myself. And I was talking to Chris Duckerfield a while ago. He lives just around the corner from me. You know, Chris Duckerfield, RAC, Swag, etc. From Warp back in the day. And I was like, I want to do a documentary. I want to do it about like Sheffield Pirate Radio. Because people have done it. And I was like, but where is it? I want to get the full history. I'm so tired of this narrative. House music would have died without the UK, seriously. And without the European stuff, like, and also, which is always forgotten, high energy. You know, after disco is dead and all that. Ian Levine, high energy, awful music to me. But it's a massive deal. It was such a huge part of the progression from disco to house. Like, it can't be understated and it never gets mentioned. I don't know. The history is so big. You know, going from even going back to like the experimental nerds in the 60s with the synthesizers and tape loops and all this lot. I could go on for hours. Oh, also, Snooker starting this Saturday, so I might be in the background, you know, and Hazel or whoever's chatting rubbish. Let's check it out. I'll wear a Warp t-shirt on Saturday, so keep your eyes open in the background. I'm not going to go and actually watch any games. Sod it. But I might go hang around the Winter Gardens for a while on Saturday. Check it out, you know. So yeah, I think that's about it. Like I say, if you fancy donating to the channel, give me some incentive to keep doing it. Let's be honest, my rips, they sound bloody amazing. Even at the YouTube 128 kilobytes per second bit rate or whatever. I spent so long cleaning them up, honestly. It's like the never-ending task. And then I listen to the ones I did like 5 years ago and I'm like, that sounds like crap, I better do it again. Can't go on, can't go on. So thanks to everybody who subscribes and comments and shares and all this lot. Big shout out to House Music Collective, Pint of Stuff, Attitude Ink Store down in Colchester. Who else am I missing? Loads of people. Morewood, Sarah, Kat, Liam Curry, NUD crew, Pint of Stuff, I've already said them. Yeah, Matt and Selena. I don't know who else. Anyway, so there we go. I think that about covers it. So yeah, at the moment I'm continuing to do rips and like it's just what I fancy listening to. Like I've dug out this Espirizione record and I was like, well, I'll do the other one. Then it reminded me of this old Sasha tape, so I'm like, oh, I'll get Secret Worship out and you know, and then thinking about like Skinny Malinky records and how I haven't done loads of them. I'm like, oh, never ending. Then on to Quattro and then the 97, 96, 97 trancey stuff. And I'm trying to stay away from the big labels, as you know, because I do not want to get my channel shut down. But there is always that chance, which is what happened on my old channel. If somebody buys up a bunch of copyrights from a load of old labels, which they did do a bunch of years ago, and loads of people's channels got shut down, Mr. Juggles being one, I could just get out 3 copyright strikes in one go and that'd be the end of it. So, you know, make the most. I don't think what I'm doing is some kind of like spiritual quest. I don't think I'm anything special. But like, I just want to provide like a YouTube channel full of stuff that I'd want to do. I'd want to listen to, like all sorts. Like going to a record shop, right? I listen to this, I listen to the B-side, I listen to the remixes. You know, I'm doing a service. Like I always edit a lot of stuff on Discogs as well, and like upload fresh, high-quality pictures and all sorts. Because it's like it's a history I care about. It's like a big part of my life. And I'm not having these young whippersnappers telling me I'm not allowed to get involved in the culture because it ain't mine. It is mine. It's a lot of people's who've lived it since like the 80s. getting involved with like, I remember as a kid, Art of Noise, Paul Hardcastle changed my freaking life. A few years ago, this girl who lives around the corner, Lucy, woman, sorry, her and a bloke live around the corner. She texted me one day. She's like, "Are you playing the Art of Noise?" Because I was like blasting some tunes out. I was like, "Yeah." Texted her back, "Yeah, bloody hell. I don't think anybody would know that round here." Some random Art of Noise track from like the 80s. Anyway, a few like days later, I went round. We sat in the garden chilling one evening. I said, "Oh yeah, yeah, amazing Art of Noise that you knew it." And she's like, "Yeah, well, JJ's my dad." I was like, "What?" JJ from the Art of Noise. I mean, all you have to do is Google JJ Jeczalik. J-E-C... Hang on. J-C-Z-L-A... Hang on. I can't even spell it off the top of my head. J-E-C-Z-L-A... I'll forget it. I can write it down. Anyway, so like I've got to meet your dad. He's a bloody legend. I was like, I remember all this stuff, Art of Silence, even from the mid-90s. And she's like, nobody knows about the Art of Silence. And I was like, I do. I've got all three of the 12 inches. Anyway, I finally got around to meeting him the other week. What a guy. He's still so enthusiastic about all this music. Talking about the live shows and going back to the 80s, talking about all the people he's worked with and all this cool shit. Like telling me tales about like Grace Jones and like Holly Johnson and why they decided not to show the faces as the Art of Noise, and Trevor Horn and Macca, his mate Paul McCartney, like all these tales. We're just talking for bloody, felt like hours. It was like 45, 50 minutes. What a guy. And he's like the nicest guy, still so enthusiastic. So I said to him, do you know what always pissed me off about the Art of Noise? You never put out the bloody theme tune to the Krypton Factor. Do you remember how good it was? He goes, well, it was just a little demo that turned into Robinson Crusoe. And I was like, yeah, I love Robinson Crusoe, same melody. But that one from the start of the bloody Krypton Factor, like I've got like, a FLAC and MP3 rip of it from somewhere. I was like, you should put some of that stuff on your live shows next time. I was like, because people will remember it, people will love it. It's just long forgotten stuff that they never used. He goes, yeah, I might do actually. And the stuff for the Harp Lager advert. I said, honestly, I'm not the only one that loves that stuff. So if the theme from bloody Krypton Factor turns up at the next live show, it's down to me. I love it. I love living around here, Sheffield. Like I say, Chris Duckerfield around the corner. We've got Luca Lozano around the corner, who I got on with these days. When we used to skate, when we were teenagers, he hated me. I wasn't a fan of his either, to be honest. We got like Dave Berry's daughters across the road, the 1960s singer. JJ's daughter I'm friends with. Like, just like so many semi-famous people just everywhere. There's the usual twat Sheffield musicians, Richard Hawley or whatever. Alex Turner from Arctic Monkey. Oh, who cares? Who cares? Electronic music, that's what it's about. Do you remember the old... Who was it that said it? People move to Sheffield for two things. Warp Records and the climbing in the Peak District. Ah, good times. I'm trying not to live in the past, but, what can you do? With all these reissues and remasters coming out, you just got to snap them up. Like, I've been buying so many again. Like Night Force, Chris, Lunacy, what a hero. I know it's not just him, but like, there are other stores like Vinyl Fanatic and loads of other places putting out remasters and reissues. And that's stuff that I just never could afford back in, like, never been able to afford it ever. It's just stupid and rare, like, or just impossible to get. Although Danny at Suburban Base, he's taken off a load of most, in fact, of the digitals to buy from Suburban Base website, which really annoyed me. Like, I'm going to buy Peace and Loveism by Sons of a Loop the Loop era. Because, like, my 12-inch is a bit beat up. And, like, the CD single doesn't have a 12-inch version on it. Why? There's a foreign one that does, which I've now got because I couldn't buy it off Danny. Sorry. So shout out to John Langford, aka Knuckleheads. He sorted me out a copy of the foreign CD single with the full 12-inch mix on. Shout out to Change of Music crew. They're the only people that get high quality shares of my rips. There's like 12 of us across the globe. That is it. Most of them are owned by DJs from Florida. There's a few UK ones, like say me and John Langford, Knuckleheads. Um, but yeah, we've all been dedicated for like over a decade now of like just documenting, making historical documents of all these old records that don't exist on digital or CD or whatever, and it's just awesome. But as always, my want list keeps getting bigger. I listen to new music, doesn't do much. I listen to Burial's new tracks a bunch of times to try and get my head around. It's garbage, sorry. Listen to new Square Pusher. It's good, but you know, it's got no soul. Like a bunch of the new hardcore stuff that like Night Force is putting out and that. There's some good stuff, but like even going back to like 4 or 5 years ago, it was better. Like Birth of the Huma Bird EP, like on that hardcore mix I did recently, I played a bunch of newer stuff as well as old school. And some of that's bloody amazing. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. So I hope you're all keeping well, as I always say. This is what I look like when I say it. Hope you're all keeping well, and let's get into the music. No, let's not. And by the way, when I say good evening, fellow Shelbyvillians, it's a quote from. It's not actually a direct quote. It's a reference to that Simpsons episode where they go to Shelbyville. Death to Shelbyville. Shoot on, son. It's a reference to the Simpsons. Because I'm not I don't be like, hey, what up, guys? Blah blah blah. I'm just a normal person. I'm nothing special. I'm just a nerd when it comes to old house music, and I collect trailers. That's it. Right, less of me waffling. Get back to the music. Spring is here, although it's still cold today. But like I always say, once the snooker starts, we're good to go. It's going to be nice. Peace out, everybody.